so this is how things stand from yesterday. Yesterday, the adventuring party were having a lovely drink in the pub in Brancaster, which is a made-up city. I know there's a real Brancaster up on the north coast of Norfolk, isn't it? There's a little tiny town called Brancaster. It's nothing to do with that. It's a city that's north of the modern-day Ripon, and it's a county of Renwickshire that I've invented. I'd rather have if you like, a sandbox county that I can do stuff with, so I'm not too bound in with history, because the rest of the country has got lots of history elements that I don't want to lose. So Renwickshire's my made-up county, so I can just have a bit of fun. Brancaster's the city of it. They were in the pub. A lad comes in. He had a dodgy coin. A couple of dodgy customers follow him out of the pub, and the adventuring party decide to find out what's going on. It ends up that there's a warehouse that's been involved in some sort of contraband weapons that have come from Spain. So the adventuring party decide to hunt down, after exploring what's going on in the warehouse and finding the dead body of this lad's dad, and it seems to have been a made-up suicide. They decided to chase down what's happened to the armaments, which were the contraband, and they've headed themselves down about 4 or 5 miles south of the city to a farmhouse where they've just snuck in, middle of the night. There's been a bunch of what look like mercenaries that are obviously relaxing and having a great time because they think they've accomplished everything that they were asked to do. So they're all very, very drunk, or have they fallen asleep, and the adventuring party had basically snuck up on them. They've knocked them out, for want of a better phrase. They've tied them up, and some of them are beginning to come round. So what we've got in front of us at the moment is the farmhouse, the main building. The other place where it happened, which is where all the contraband goods are still there, and that's in the barn that next door to this building. This is a typical farm from the period. And they've been tying people. They've tied the mercenaries up, whilst the farmer and his family are getting themselves together and trying to recover from literally having their premises taken over. None of the adventurers quite yet have done any investigating beyond a very cursory glance at the armaments, a cursory glance at the mercenaries, and that's how we've left it. So as we're looking at things at the moment, you guys are aware that the son, the farmer's son, he comes down from where he was locked up in his room on the top floor, and he is almost completely beaten up. He is a right state, and he's staggering down the staircase. The dad is also coming down the stairs with this pale, angry look on his face, wondering what the hell's going on. And the only two people that were downstairs from the household was the mum and this 15-year-old daughter that were basically serving these mercenaries, who were just getting drunk as hell in the living room and the kitchen. So that's as you're seeing it at the moment.
Has Edmund had an aneurysm?
Edmund started making use of a spell called Conduit. This spell was why everybody lost consciousness, because what it does, it takes magical energy from other people. Now, you can do that willingly. So if you need more magical energy to cast your spells, you touch somebody on the shoulder that's a mate of yours and you say, can I borrow some of your energy? And if they're a soldier, they won't need it. And you can basically draw the energy from them quite willingly, as long as their magical energy doesn't reach 0 magic points. Because once anybody reaches 0 magic points, they'll faint. Nothing more harmful will happen to them, but they will faint. The problem is you can charge yourself up till you're more than twice the amount of magic points you can usually carry as a spellcaster. Now, this has to be used straight away in a meaningful way. It just doesn't disappear. It's like everything else, any other form of energy in nature, it has to go somewhere. And the one thing that your poor colleague forgot was the magical energy that he gathered together was so much, and he had nothing to do with it. And you do find his corpse on the round here. with, and it's I would make you roll a trauma check because his head is a little bit messy.
Yeah, he's over there on the trees. He's on the banister rail. He's on the window.
He has followed classic procedure when handling a hand grenade, which is jumping 40 feet up into the air and spreading yourself over a wide area. So he has.
Given the amount of pressure build-up with that amount of magic, you're not going to get any money for those breaches on the second-hand market.
No. So that's how we're leaving it. I mean, if Edmund does want to come back into the game at a future point, then I'll let that slide. But for the sake of tonight's game, just to make it all. We'll do that, but if he does want to play Edmund again in a future game, then I'll be quite happy to bring him back in some form. I'll figure out a way.
The witch hunter.
Yeah.
So
Slowly coalesces back together.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
Yes. Recover.
Hold on, Hollywood have done worse plots for movies that are more contrived to bring characters back. So I think you'll be forgiven.
Well, Hammer
it
did
was
it.
all a dream.
Yeah, Hammer did it with Dracula, didn't they? I mean, he was Dracula, Prince of Darkness was a brilliant film, but they did have to go some way to get this dust in a coffin.
Phil,
Don't I recall something like was it Dynasty or something back in the 80s? They actually did 2 series, realised they'd mess it up, and then someone woke up having had a dream.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on with this.
Okay, well, us load who are in the barn have yet to get into the house. So, I mean,
yes,
with our, empty muskets and loaded pistols, I think we're just going to have to go through the front door and bluff our way through this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going through the front door of the house, only to find that the rest of your compadres are already in there. And all the other mercenaries, you're sort of going, because all the other mercenaries are sort of tied up. Some of them are starting to come round. They'll probably have a single magic point. Because it's actually 3 magic points restored per hour. So what I'll say is it'll take them about half an hour for them to start coming round.
We've got the guy that was at the barn doors. They didn't murder him, so we'll drag him with us.
Okay.
To the others.
Oh yes, the drunk one that was.
So he's swearing and blue murdering and in the name of God and all this sort of stuff, but he can't really function. He can't hold his beer. He must be on his second.
I'll tell him to shut up, or one of these two will stick your neck with a knife.
Well, he can see, he can measure the situation quite clearly, and is very sort of like, I was only doing a job.
I'm only doing a job. It's just that I'm better at my job. Now, move it.
That's a second person today said about only doing their job, and I don't know the. We'll gag him anyway because we're thinking. Oh, sorry, we've got past that bit, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yep, so he doesn't shout out a warning.
Yeah.
So I missed a bit because literally everybody froze on my screen for a brief moment.
Yeah, I had that too for a sec as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
The joy of modern technology.
So the father, the obviously the farmer, he sort of looks down at you and says, "Who are you? Thank you so much for what you've done. Thank you for rescuing us. This has been so dreadful."
I thought for a second we'd frozen again.
Yeah. I just sort of look and go, and I'm the brigand, I'm the outcast. And this is what, and I just sort of look at one of them and go, the brave soldiers. Brave soldiers? Is this how you soldier? I look at the young lad as well, and I'm like, so brave.
Which one are you talking? Are you talking about the
just in general? Just at any contact, the ones that are tied up on the ground. Talking to them. Generally, cast my eye.
One of the things that you can assess is these guys are the real deal compared to the ruffians that you met in Brancaster. These guys are probably proper soldiers. They might have had quite an experience out in Europe, and they have come back and they've tried to make money, probably as brigands or as sellswords, effectively. And so you can tell by the way they are that they've literally been floored by magic, and it was completely, you know, they did the ultimate sin of any soldiering unit in the field, and that is let their guard down. They thought they'd done it. They assumed that nobody knew where the farm was, so they didn't worry. And that's so none of them have woken up properly yet. That you can see that the farmer's son himself is completely messed up. So he's been beaten senseless at some point by these guys.
Yeah, you have the look of someone who's found a Spanish coin in the recent past.
Are any of us healers? Don't think I am.
It is a slightly unfortunate situation with your witch hunter gone, because he was the one with all the spells. But
I was thinking we don't know that yet, so I was going to role play it out that, okay, young lad, you need healed, and then one of us will go and look for the
okay,
and then we'll.
His mum will probably look after him. He's probably about 17 years old, so he's definitely soldier age, but he's considered an adult. I mean, in most senses. So, but his mum will still sit him down in the kitchen and start tending to his wounds enough. So you don't have to do that.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, your turn.
No, I was going to say, can before she takes them away, can you point me out the man in this group most responsible for giving you the beating, the ringleader? You point him out to me.
Oh, the leader. The dad will take over from the conversation as the lads. So the dad will take you into the living room, and there's a guy about here. He's a bit larger than the others. He's almost got a Spanish look about him. He's got quite a broad-rimmed hat, bit of a feather sticking out of it, almost piratey look about him.
He has
definitely, and he's basically slumped in the chair now with his hands tied round the back of the chair. So he's not awake, but he's obviously, when he wakes up, it's going to be pretty bad for him, because whoever's done the tying up of you guys has done a really good job at it. But that's the one, and the farmer just points him. He's the leader. He's the one that was telling everybody what to do.
Well, that's better than I thought, because I was going to pull one out and I was going to let the son beat one to death, and then I was going to say, right, you're going to tell us what we want to know, or we'll go down the line killing you. But now we know who the leader is, we'll just take him up to one side and we'll interrogate him.
I think maybe we'll let the other his compadres watch. Is the fireplace lit?
The fireplace is lit, yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to have a look at the fireplace. Have we got any pokers? Some nice.
Yes, definitely. At the moment, you realise that it's going to be another 10 minutes or so before they actually wake up. So it's not like
10 minutes to heat up.
So if you just want to wait on and okay,
yeah, you've got one guy, the leader, in that chair. What was it? That one's looks like it's to the sort of the top of the picture. Yeah, that one. Yeah. The next chair down, is there someone in that as well?
Yes, there is.
Oh, well. Let's remove him and place him, put him on the floor.
Okay.
Turn the chair around slightly and have a sit down.
Okay.
Need to take the weight off.
I suppose if we are following this course of action, for the sake of expediency, there is another fireplace in the kitchen.
Yes. At the moment, that fireplace has been used for probably non-stop serving up food and drink to these guys. But this is why the women were allowed to be roaming free, because they were working the whole time.
Well, it can work for us now and make us something.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Right.
They are actually, strangely, they're willing to do what they can because they see you as saviours.
Have you got any Madeira?
In which case, Percival will rest his arm on the chair, stick his hand out something like this, and just look at one of them. That's where the glass of Madeira goes.
Well, the daughter, she's, without needing any dice rolls, you can tell that the daughter has been through hell. I mean, if you can imagine it, I'm not going to go through all the details, but if you imagine it, she's basically had 8 or 9 blokes of a certain age wrap around her the whole time. And she's been through hell. And when she sees you do that, you can see that it really disturbs her. And she just slumps off into the kitchen. It's like you've just triggered her all over again.
I think you'll have to wait till we get back to the pub for the Madeira.
You think?
Well, Senior Soldier Boy didn't bring it with him.
And I just sort of
She comes back about a minute later, and she's got a very bulbous wine bottle with matting all the way around it, and it's probably some form of sack. And she sort of looks at you with a almost zombified look on her face. My lord, will this do?
That's very, very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, you can see that she's actually shaking, and she.
I'll sort of go over and I'll rest my hand and go. If that accidentally ends up over his head, we won't mind.
But she looks at you for a moment, for the first time all evening, all day. There's probably the kindest thing that anybody could have done for her, because for a brief moment there's a glint of levity in what you've said that's actually hit her, and she laughs slightly and then just grins at Percival, says, "Do you need a new colour for your headpiece, sir?"
Do it.
I'll look at Percival like, you upper class types, you can't read the room, can you?
She looked.
How can a gutter rat like me act appropriately around a young lady?
Possibly because it's possibly.
No, I'm talking to Percival. I'm just like, you know.
Yeah. Sorry. The farmer comes and sits on one of the chairs nearby. You're looking at them. The others are now breathing heavily. They've changed their breathing. They might be coming around any moment. And the farmer, without any prompting, goes, "Perhaps I need to explain myself."
Why did you have some hand in this?
Well, I'll go over to the fire again. I'll hold up a couple of pokers and I'll just go to the farmer. Do you mind?
He just shakes his head. Anything, sir.
I'll just set them in the fire. Start getting them nice and hot. Future proceedings.
He's just a very angry man. But polite.
By whose authority are you here, or are you here as freelancers?
We're wayfarers, most definitely.
Then I will confess to you, sir, that initially this was a contract on behalf of. I was asked to keep a number of goods that I had no idea what they are. I still don't know what they are, but I do know that they're on carts and they're stored in the barn. And I was to entertain a small group of men for about 4 or 5 days, and then once they disappeared, then my debts would be written off.
Have these ungrateful oafs actually paid you?
No, they won't. They're not here to pay me.
Oh, right. It's just that we thought perhaps one of these carts contained an amount of gold or silver coin.
I have no idea, sir. I haven't been allowed in the barn, not since they arrived. And when they started treating my family like this, I should have made the women leave before they arrived, but I didn't realise it would be like this. Or that they would. Well, it feels like it is.
Do you know why they were intending to stay 4 or 5 days here?
I have no idea. All I was aware that they were to receive goods, and then at a certain point they were to leave with those goods.
But not for another few days.
I don't know. I overheard the leader here, and he points at the guy in the big chair. His name's Strike. I think Charles Strike. And I overheard him saying that he sent another bloke off who's already gone with a message, one to Brancaster and one heading south to the Manor House, he said.
Oh.
But I don't know any more details than that.
So the Vipers have a nest.
Would we know what which manor house that is? Is it like local one to Brancaster?
No, you wouldn't, because I'm thinking about dice rolls that you guys made yesterday, and sadly, it was only Edmund that had a knowledge.
Well, no doubt Striker will know.
I will allow you all to do a local knowledge check again.
No.
Just because I should.
I reckon that's a pass.
Oh, well done.
Local knowledge.
Making up for yesterday. Local
that's
knowledge. No, I failed because it's 10%.
No, didn't make it.
Oh, 7 off.
7 off isn't that bad.
No.
I missed it by 84.
No.
That's quite impressive, missing by 84.
I feel like with these dice, I need to, like I was thinking about at the end of last night, it's like, I need to just invert the percent.
Yes.
To make it roll high, and I get it.
I mean, seriously, are the percentages on the clubman all that bad, or are they just bad rolls?
Well, I think it's just 10%. It's a bad roll.
Okay, all right.
Needs to club something, and it'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You did a couple of successes.
I need somewhere to use my knowledge of agriculture.
Exactly. Well, you could here. I mean, you're coming here. Okay.
You're on a farm.
Make an agriculture check. Come on, let's do this.
You're on a farm.
Seriously,
0.6. So 6%.
Brilliant. Okay, it's pretty obvious that this farm should be having at least 6 or 7 farmhands because of its size. And it seems to you as if the guy it looks like he can't afford to pay the farmhands, and all he's got is himself and his son. So when these guys turn up, offering him to pay off his debts and give him a bit of money, then you can see where this pattern's coming from. Just by your look of the farm and how the actual farm's set out, and the condition, and even looking at the tracks outside the farmhouse itself, you can see that there should be more activity than there is. So as a clubman, you're sort of like doing a sharp intake of breath, putting the cigarette behind your ear and going, "Oh, we've got a problem here, mate." So this is your territory, your time to shine.
Oh my god.
Is Striker waking up yet?
Strike. He's on the edge of waking up, yeah.
Ah, good. In which case, I'm going to turn my chair around so that I'm facing him.
Okay. He just looks over at you with a steady gaze. You can see there's a scar across his cheek. He hasn't shaven for about probably 5 or 6 days, so it's heavily stubbled. And he's also got a slight tan, as if he spends an awful lot of time outside.
Have we searched them, especially him?
You haven't, no.
Can I?
If you want an immediate description of the exterior, he's wearing. He's got an overcoat, which you'd expect to find in originally probably good quality, almost like Percival's, but it's now filthy. Underneath that, there's a jack coat, and he's got by his chair a lobster pot helmet. And some gauntlets. You can see that hanging on the back of his chair is a mortuary sword in a scabbard. Okay. Also, on his belt, he's got a flintlock pistol. And he has various other pouches that include... So he may not have by now. So if any of you want to make a note of what you're grabbing off his unconscious form, then do so. We'll go back about 4 or 5 minutes before he's woken up if need be.
I'm thinking,
can we strip them all, take the boots off them all, So they're just in.
If you wish to do that, and to be fair, the women will probably be genuinely embarrassed by the process. At least take them down to their underclothes, perhaps.
I'm not naked, but yeah.
No. That would be
underclothes.
that would be
I
hideous.
want to remove the shoes in case the boots, in case they've stashed anything on the boots.
Of particular note on Strike is a ring with a ruby on his finger. And there's also another ring with the initials HS on it. Also, in his purse, there is 6 crowns and 10 shillings and 14 pence. So he's got quite a nice bag of monies there.
All right, well, we'll put this in the party bank.
In amongst that, there is one more thing, which is folded up almost ridiculously small, so you have to really unravel it. And
where was he keeping that?
It's in the money pouch. So I haven't yet put the foldings on it, and this is what you see. And it says Strike. Well, yes, you might notice that, which matches the tattoos that are on their wrists. Okay. If you want to all do arcane law arcane for this, which is probably extremely...
How exactly do I roll a 0%?
Could you inform me how it is practical for me to roll a 0?
Okay, well, I was asking the question. If you roll a 1%, then there are other situations already placed within the game, including a conversation with your Witchfinder, that might lend a possibility. So if you do roll 1%...
I didn't roll that. I rolled a 2.
Oh, for God's sake, did you roll a 2?
Yes, so I didn't roll a 1. So as usual, I missed out by a point or so.
No. I'm a magnanimous game master. Yesterday, Edmund, your godsman, was talking about the tattoos, and he mentioned St. Colin. He also mentions a group called the Brethren of Enoch.
Yeah.
And when he was talking, he was blathering on, because these guys that are all educated, they tend to blather about stuff. But what you did pick out was that he was talking about the first person that raised Enoch as being a vital source of a supernatural agency was a guy called Dr. John Dee.
Crossover.
This is the sign of John Dee. And it's like, because of your education as a swordmaster, because you've been in court circles and you've probably encountered this sign once or twice before, it suddenly twigs, particularly in association with Colin and effectively Enoch through John Dee.
Well, I'll be.
So this is maybe an important thing. It says not 3, but 4 consignments are to be delivered from Foreshore Warehouse. You know that the warehouse was William and Henry Foreshaw's, because William's the guy that you left behind. Once achieved, send word to Azalea. Now, I want you all to do another local knowledge check with a 20% bonus.
Not as such.
That bonus saved me, so I got 11.
Oh,
Brilliant. Now it twigs.
Rob.
When they said that they sent a message north and south, one to Brancaster, one to a manor house to the south, you suddenly realise that the manor house is at Azalea. You also realise one more thing, because it's rather notorious for supernatural reasons. Azalea Manor House is believed to be haunted. On its grounds, there is an abbey ruin, and the abbey ruin is haunted by monks. The other point that you suddenly realise and remember, that Azalea Manor House is the country estate of Christopher Hemsby, the warehouse owner.
Ah.
So, stating only that the consignment is to be delivered soon, no more than this. Send word to the Chapel of St. Colin, informing that esteemed chaplain that all is set. I shall give further instructions in due course, SG. That was the message that was in the purse of Charles Strike.
Well, let's let him wake up.
Okay.
So I think, Mr. Strike, we have the majority of what we need to know. A few items you can possibly fill in for us. By all means, choose not to. My noble and learned friend here.
Sir, can we cut through the crap for a moment? I'm a soldier. I'm also a businessman. If you come at me with all your fancy talk, then I may as well talk to one of your colleagues, because I can see around you that you've got plain-speaking man, and I'd rather talk to a plain-speaking man. So, one of the rest of you, can we have a conversation, please? Because I don't want to listen to this guy's crap any longer.
We don't want a conversation. We just want you to answer our questions.
Then ask away. I don't mind. You've got me. You've got me. I'm not going to...
What do you want me to ask this gentleman?
Who is SG?
Who is SG? Is this
SG...
really what you want?
Is there an echo in this room?
Yeah, is this really what you want?
No. SG is the person that's asked me to do the job. I don't know him by any other name.
I see. It mentions 4 consignments. Can you tell us what each of those consignments are?
They're all in the barn. We got them all.
There's only
are
2
all
wagons.
4 consignments on the 3 wagons?
Yeah, it ended up all being on 3 consignments. We got a note with the last one saying that was it.
Was there any money?
Yeah, there was an amount of money.
And where's that?
It's upstairs, in the room that I took. If you want it, it's Spanish, but it's good.
Let's go ahead and bring trouble.
If you want me to have it for you, then I'm quite happy.
I do have a way that we can process that money.
Melt it down. Raw gold isn't bad. Raw silver ain't no bad. The value changes.
Precisely.
Look, you got me banged to rights. I don't know how that happened. Some sort of magic, I guess. But I do applaud you in the manner in which you took us out. That was quite impressive. I hope the rest of my lads are okay. Did you kill any?
Well, we'll wait and see.
1 or 2, but we're not quite finished yet. Because you did kidnap a family. That's a bit uncalled for.
They got a bit out of hand, the lads. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, you're going to be sorry, trust me. Because after this, we're going to have some fun.
Can we do a deal? I'm a good soldier.
No, you're not.
What sort of deal are you considering?
Working for you. If you're going to be messing around with a consignment of arms, as soon as you get them on the market, your heads are going to be known by everybody around you. You're going to need some sort of, shall we say, soldiery support, and I'm going to be here for you if you want. If you decide to torture me instead, then you're missing an opportunity. That's all I'm saying. You've got a choice.
You will, of course, appreciate that if
does he always talk like this?
I'm afraid so, yes.
All right, then, go ahead.
Oh, very kind of you.
Last time I heard someone like this, he was Spanish and he was shitting marble every 5 minutes. Come on, get on with it.
Yeah, we're going to sort this quickly. It doesn't breed great confidence that you're willing to give up on your current employer so rapidly.
What do you seriously expect me to do with my hands tied behind my back with you guys with all my weapons?
He's a mercenary. That's what mercenaries do. I mean, we could offer him a job, but I wouldn't trust him with a gun in his hand because he'd probably.
If the only reason why we do work is for the money, do you think that's got anything to do with loyalty? Loyalty is earned by other things than money. And this is a guy that I don't even know the name of that I'm working for, so I'm not exactly going to be loyal to him. I do the job as well as I can. As soon as I fail at it, like I plainly have this time, then I assess the situation. And this is the situation. You guys have got the upper hand. I'm not going to complain about that. That's how it is.
How far do you think you and your men could remove yourselves from this place in, say, the next 2 days?
We could end up somewhere down in Nottingham if you wanted. Unless you take the horses off us, and then we're limited to... I think we might be able to get down to Doncaster. On foot. Especially if you don't give us any money. But we'll survive. We're good at that.
You'll want your boots back, won't you?
Ideally. From one soldier to another, yeah? Come on. Well, I'm willing to give you all the information I can, but the way these deals go, I don't get that much information. All I've been told is to hold on to the goods until I get further notice and then send it wherever it needs to go. And as I've not received that message yet, I'm in the dark as much as you guys are. And
You're supposed to take it to St. Colin.
All I know is I was to send a message to St. Colin, and I've done that. And the message was all the goods have arrived. And we already know that.
Did you send it to anyone in particular?
No, it's a chapel in Brancaster.
I don't think we should let them go anywhere. They need to stay here until we know what the next thing to do is. If they're going to tell us where the goods need to go, we don't want these guys running around telling tales.
I don't think the farmer will let them stay here.
Well, we're going to be staying here, aren't we? Unless we're going to the manor house, but...
We need to intercept that messenger.
That was yesterday evening, just before it got dark. He left, so we'll be in Brancaster by now.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the messenger coming back.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's what we were doing, waiting for the messages.
If the messenger comes back and there's nobody here, then that's going to cause problems.
No, we are going to be here. We'll be waiting for the messenger.
Yeah, I know, but he'll be expecting to see me, won't he?
Well, they will.
I'll play my part, guys.
We're not going to kill you. We don't work like that. Some of us.
I'm glad to hear it. Seriously, I've been on the continent. I know how things go. That if it was in your best interest to kill me, then you'd have done that.
Has anyone checked upstairs as yet to see how much coin there is up there?
No.
That's good.
Would someone be kind enough?
I'll look after you.
What I was thinking, just
I'll go
out loud, is we gather all the coin from everybody and we take a tax for ourselves, but we leave enough for the farm. In payment for what they've had to endure. So you get something out of it.
How much coin is there upstairs?
The chest contains something in the region, if it in good old-fashioned British money, we're talking about £30 in coin. Most of it's going to be divvied up between, but then I will take a little bit of a cut from the consignment, to be honest.
Aye.
I'm not stupid. I mean, they don't know how much they're going to be receiving, obviously. So I'd be taking a little bit in kind, maybe a couple of weapons, a few bits of buff armor. And then, obviously, the drink. That would be good to resell, to be honest. And then that cash of coin, it depended on what sort of hand I had in the matter. I was going to ask for a bit more, but you've actually ruined all that. So
I thought it'd be more coin than that. It's not a lot of coin, is it?
It's not a lot of coin, but I'll be giving the lads about £3 each, which is good for them.
Well, the very fact you're not going to be able to deliver the arms nor the coin,
Yeah.
in any sense,
No.
is going to put you in the bad books of everybody around here. I'm assuming that an ability to leave the area rapidly will be most welcome for you and your men.
If that's been placed on the table, then I would take it. And soldier's honour, I will not interfere any further.
That's acceptable to me. How about the rest of you?
I don't think we should let him go until that messenger comes here.
Well, that's we're obviously going to be roommates for a while. I think we need to have a chat with the young lad.
What, is that the farmer's son, or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See how he feels about things. He might have some angst to get out of his system. I think it would be only right to let him have it.
The only thing
if he's okay, no harm, no foul. And the young ladies.
The only thing that Strike says is, the only thing I want to keep of mine, if you don't mind, is my ring with the initials on it. It's personal. Everything else is fair game. If you do take it, then so be it, but it would be nice. Belong to my father, if you want to know.
What are the initials? Was it HS?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I have a look at the ring a bit closer? Is he?
It's quite a. I'll just double check. So I'm gonna. Okay, it's.
Shame we
Have you got do a merchant barter check?
Shame we haven't got like a warlock just to check it over. 32. I think that's going to be a fail. Merchant.
I'll get 40 on that.
I've got 40%.
Okay, this is relatively good quality. The ring itself will be worth about £6.
Yes, it's nice ring.
The other ring would be worth about £15. The ruby ring.
Is that? And he wants the ruby ring.
He doesn't want the ruby ring. He's a very realistic young bloke. He just wants the one with the initials, which is worth £6.
Well, if it will lubricate the deal, I'll chip in my cash share to give him back his ring. So you gents split whatever I would have had out of the cash.
Yeah, I was going to say let him have the ring.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
Thank you, sir. You are honourable men. As far as the lad is concerned, you bring him in, and he looks. The other blokes are beginning to come round. Obviously, they're all sort of looking around slightly dopily, and then looking at their boss. A couple of them are struggling a little bit, and you can see even by the body language of the lad, who's now patched it up in various places. You can see that poultices have been put on his bruises, and a bandage has been placed around his wrist, and he sort of comes into the room, and obviously he doesn't know who to be scared of or not scared of, so he sort of comes in and goes, gentle, you have summoned me.
Yes, it appears that there's a bit of a transgression against you.
I lost my temper. They were trying to touch my sister. I wouldn't have that.
That's quite rightly so.
Which one of them tried to touch your sister?
Him over there. He points at the one of them that's struggling in the corner. Him over there particularly, but a couple of the others. But it was him mostly. He was the one that was goading them on.
Is he the one that beat you up?
No, all three of these beat me up. He was the one that was trying to touch my sister, though.
Okay. I'll go over and I'll just drag him over by the chin and drag him towards the fire.
What are you going to do to me?
I sort of look at the young lad. I'm quite happy to go ahead. Would you like the honours? And a motion towards the pokers. We're going to have one each.
His eyes widen, and he just sort of, the sense of horror on the boy's face, seeing what you're about to do. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Simon, we're froze for a second.
I thought that was me again. I'm like, but have no, not again.
I don't know what's going on.
No, we all froze again for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And he basically, instead of picking up the poster, he uses as much strength as he can with his left hand, and he slams his fist into the bloke's face, and the guy falls against the fireplace and collapses against the logs. He then looks down at him, and then he kicks him in his chest. And then he looks at you and he says, "That'll do me."
That's fair enough.
The bloke's probably got broken ribs now, and he sort of says, but then he sort of looks down at the white hot pokers and he says, "But not that."
That's fine. I just sort of look at him and go, "Well, you're a better man than me, young man. Honestly, but if justice has been served and you feel."
I was raised right, and I haven't yet done anything like that before. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to get. He got his comeuppance. Nobody touches my sister, right? And then he looks back and he says, "Thank you, sir. Thank you." And then he looks at the rest of you. "Thank you all for helping us." And then he backs out of the room.
Mm-hmm. I looked down at the guy. He wasn't knocked out, was he?
No, he is really badly hurt.
Yep. Sort of top of the head.
He's now got a really badly bleeding nose, and he must have got broken ribs from that kick.
I'll give him a playful poke on the nose and go, I was a gracious young man there, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
You're going to say thank you to him?
And in the background...
I'll give it another little wiggle. You are going to say thank you, yes?
And behind you hear Strike going, "Thank the kind gentleman, Lawrence. Thank him. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for showing me mercy. Thank you."
Yes. With a nose like that, sir, you're going to need to study agriculture if you wish to be wed. I'll look at Strike and go, "Well, looks like the matter's dealt with."
Fair enough. He deserved it. If I'd have caught him doing that, then I'd have done it to myself. I didn't realise what the true story behind all that was. I thought the boy was trying to do one. Reasonable justice.
Right.
No soldier should be caught doing that sort of thing when they're on duty.
Very well. Then it seems the consensus is that we shall wait for the message to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And does anyone object then, once that message is collected and we have it, that Strike and his men shall be dispatched off to whichever distant regions will accommodate them?
I have no argument with that.
Okay. We'll cut the story out just to sort of like, you sort yourselves out. Maybe you can put if you look at I'll get the bigger map up. I'll cut through this a little bit so we can move on a bit. Because you've conquered the situation. So you're in the farmhouse at the moment. So this is where all the consignments are. There is a stables here. The stables has got a lot of horses. you can see which ones are the farmers' horses because they're beasts of burden. They're the ones that are being used. There's 2 cart horses. There's 1 other horse, which is probably the farmers' horses, and the rest of them, and they're filling up the stables, belong to these men. You've got a big barn full of all the weaponry and stuff in it here. You've also got a couple of dead bodies up there. So I don't know how you're going to deal with all the mercenaries, but if you wait on, it will be... how long are you going to wait for the message? Let's do it that way.
Well, didn't they say 4 days, 4 to 5 days?
What he said was he sent the message to Brancaster the evening just before it got dark, the day before.
Yeah,
So you know how long it takes to get to Brancaster, so you should be expecting a message back possibly sometime today.
Oh, I thought the farmer said the deal was for
They were going to hold on for 4 to 5 days. It's already been... If you realise, they were waiting for a consignment of stuff.
Yeah.
And 4 wagons. So if you think about the timescale, then they've already been here for 4 days.
All right.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
How many mercenaries are there altogether?
There's 8.
Hmm.
You killed 2 of them. There, and there. One of them was drunk out of his head, and the rest of them were in here.
Yeah.
And sent to sleep by your ex witchfinder.
One thing that you did mention earlier, and I think it's something we ought to deal with before we get involved in other things, the yeoman farmer. What is the debt that was to be satisfied for you? How much?
Well, the debt was a rent on this property.
And to what value is that debt?
£8.
£8. Let's check the money box and see what sort of coin is in there.
Well, didn't I say £30?
£30, yeah. But is it Spanish or is it English?
It's all Spanish.
Yeah.
When we went through the mercenaries things, what sort of coin?
6 crowns.
The 6 crowns were definitely English.
But that was strikers.
That was Striker's personal purse.
Yes.
If you get the rest of all the rest of the money together, you will find there is possibly about 32 shillings and 18 pence from all the other mercenaries.
6 crowns, 32 shillings. So we got £1 and a bit in shillings. The 6 crowns. A crown is 2 shillings, isn't it?
I'll just double check.
Trying to remember.
The ruby ring.
Because it's 1974 since I remember ever thinking about
a crown is 5 shillings.
5 shillings. Oh, so we've got a couple of pounds in those.
Yeah.
So we've got £3 there. Well,
but the alcohol alone, the consignments of alcohol, will be worth enough for him to pay his debts off.
In which case, if you're willing to take the alcohol, do take that, and hopefully that will sort your debts
He's
and
very
remove
happy.
any problems.
He's very happy.
Do remember to rebottle it.
Of course. The message arrives.
22 hours.
Is that the message?
This is a strange, weedy British voice because it's 22 hours. A guy comes galloping forth on horseback, and he's you guys are looking out the window and you see him getting to the main farm gates, and obviously the rest of the mercenaries that he was expecting to say aren't in sight, but then he's not too perturbed at the moment. He gets off the horse, he gets through the gate, leads the horse through, and then he tethers the horse up about here. What do you intend to do at this point? He's obviously come with the message.
Okay.
Coming to the farmhouse, so
Yes, he is.
It's strikers up then to receive the
Okay.
message.
Okay, he's quite happy to do this. He wants to keep it so that the lad doesn't know. He's you're almost 100% sort of trusting him. He understands the situation. He's a soldier. He goes forward and he has a brief word with the bloke, and then grabs hold of the message, and then bids the guy farewell, and the guy turns, gets on his horse. Unless you intervene at any point, I'm just going to describe it.
No. That's the whole point.
And then he hightails it.
Yep, that's basically it. He has to think everything's going to plan.
Strike doesn't. He holds the parchment in his hand. He doesn't look at it. You can see how careful he's being, and then he gives it to one of you guys.
Percival, use what you can.
Excellent. Let's take the parchment. Are we agreeable that Strike and his men's part in this is now played?
No.
One thing, is there a plot or a spot of land a short burial can happen?
A
burial.
A burial.
Oh, of course, those two individuals.
There is probably some area around here on the map, which is quite easy to do, and it's they know they've died by now, so you can actually get you can actually, by the fact they're not breathing, it's a giveaway, and so some of the mercenaries will set about digging holes here, so it's an anonymous grave. I want to just push through this a little bit, and it's done. The actual message reads, and it's from SG again, and it's the same note paper with the same embossed stuff in it. So the same symbols, and it reads that the consignments are to be sent to Azali Manor within the next 3 days at your leisure, that payments have been made.
This is fantastic. I have to say, this is about as good a set of notes as we'll ever have. I think, given that Lord Cranfield is away at the moment, his Castellan, who is looking after the town, is well, how shall we put it? A stickler for the law, and will brook no treason. These two notes alone will deal with the problem of Charles Hemsby.
I suppose the question is, where do we go with these weapons? Do we hand them in?
May I make a suggestion?
Absolutely, hence the question.
We retain part of them. I have a very good relationship with the Lady Elizabeth Purfleet. She lives out of town and would be looking for a few arms and weapons, so perhaps a small amount there to her, which would provide us with a bolt hole should we need it. And some of the others maybe to Lord Crawford in Brancaster, as, again, a symbol that we are very amenable to his cause. It makes us popular.
I am liking this. And of course, a token amount to hand into the authorities.
Absolutely. Well, Lord Crawford is the authorities. So perhaps we take, I don't know, a quarter of the arms, or say 1 box of the arms, up to Lady Purfleet, 1 box of the arms for Lord Crawford, with maybe some buff coats, and the remainder, they will find their way via the... Oh, well done. Via an upside-down games master. Via our friend who owns the warehouse, because he will have places he can sell these things. And those ones provide us with funds.
I'm not disliking any of this.
It also gives us a place where mayhaps we can fence any other items that we come across.
You don't want to go to this manor house then?
Absolutely.
We can investigate it, but we don't have to give them the weapon.
Yeah. We can arrive with the carts.
We can take some empty wagons.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could give them empty boxes. We could weigh them down or something.
However, if that's... Do we need to go there if the authorities are going to go instead?
Well,
Unless it happens to
again-
be a job, maybe Lord Crawford can... If he wants to give us a job, I'm happy to go to the manor, but I think...
Lord
I'll
Crawford
Lord
Crawford has taken the majority of his men up north with the king.
Berwick.
It may well be that the Castilian would like to give us an authorization to deal with the manor house on his behalf.
Can I just throw in a couple of things? First, a local knowledge check for Elizabeth Purfleet for everyone else. He already knows.
No.
No.
I'm not even going to look at this sheet.
That's fine.
When
That's
you roll
fine.
80, it's like, no.
It was just an incidental because otherwise it would have filled in more information. The other one, which is just a slight correction, the boss is Craven.
Craven, correct.
Yeah. But that's because that's the game master is a bit particular about names. Also, you all know that the Castilian, the guy who's basically holding the fort and dealing with all these matters at the moment, is a guy called William Crowe, and he's the guy that he's talking about, who's holding basically making most of the decisions. Part of this is quite interesting because there is word abroad that you will all be aware of that Craven's wife is a bit pissed off about this. That she's not being given more authority by her husband to make decisions. So even here, there's sort of like it's leaked out into the city that all in the castle is not fine and dandy. But this is incidental stuff, but you do know it, so I'm telling you. So you've now got all these consignments. You've got the two messages from a guy called SG. SG, you know, is connected to the Chapel of St. Colin because of the message, yes. You also know that SG has just sent these merchants a message to say that the consignments in your own time over the next 3 or 4 days are to make their way down to Azerley Manor. You also know that Azerley Manor belongs to Christopher Hemsby. So I'm just summing it up for you from your knowledge.
Yeah.
The other things that you're aware of, beyond the Chapel of St. Colin, you're also aware that the warehouse, which you first investigated, has got a flooded cellar, and your witchfinder was pretty adamant that there's something magical or evil going on there.
We'll go and put his remains down there in water, in a bucket.
Oh, creating a monster. I love that. So you're going to put them in the magical stew in the cellar. And then at some point, over the next full moon, through the river comes this giant beast. No, okay, that's
what you wanted, Phil.
Yeah.
Empty.
What could go wrong with human remains in black magic?
So what happened to my character? Well, he became the creature from the Black Lagoon, is now terrorizing Brancaster.
Created a monster. I don't like the idea of letting these mercenaries bugger off. I quite like the idea of having his own men.
You thinking hiring them for a job?
Yeah, we could start his own little unit off. I think.
Yeah, assuming that they don't immediately screw us over at some point in the future.
Well,
in this climate, think about the overall political climate at the moment. All the nobility in the land are looking for men. They're looking for building up their private militia, either to support Parliament or to support the king. At the moment, the Civil War hasn't broken out. You've got the king going up to Berwick, and this is sort of forcing people that support Parliament to start taking sides. So that every member of the nobility throughout the country is starting to go, I need to gather strength together so that I can take part in all this. I don't want to be walked over by a royalist unit or a parliamentarian unit. So you're sort of in a situation where, despite the fact that there's only one of you that is pretending they've got blue blood, if you have your own private army, then it might be an interesting situation. I'm just metagaming slightly with this.
We can hire ourselves out We'll have decent kit. I think we can trust Shrike. I think he's proved we can trust him. There's 8 of them. There's 4, so there'd be 12 of us.
Well, it's now down to 6 because you killed 2.
Oh, there was only 6.
Yeah, there's 6 now.
Well, that's 10
Still
of
a
us.
decent number.
Still, that's probably more manageable.
So you're suggesting we, out of this little cash, we equip ourselves
Oh,
and
definitely.
be a bit more formal?
But there's some horse pistols, isn't they? Yeah.
If you want a list of the, do you want a list of the goods again?
Yeah, do a cut and paste job or something. I think there was quite a few pistols.
But I'm also warming to Percival's idea of let's make a few friends with some goods.
But it would make us a little bit more influential, wouldn't it? If we
But
had a
at
few
the same time, yeah,
few
how many
members.
goods? Maybe not as clear or as many goes.
And
So
they've got their horses
maybe
already.
a
You don't have
fifth
to
as
buy
opposed to a
horses.
quarter.
Mm-hmm.
We equip ourselves, and when we present ourselves to Castilian, we
And
make it
where-
hard. We
and
make
where
it
would
hard
you-
for a job to
Yeah.
deal with a scallywag.
And they won't be as
Where-
pissed off because we'll be paying them, so they'll have some
Yeah.
money.
Where would you prefer our base of operations to be? Do you
What I'm
want it in Lancaster or elsewhere?
Well, there's a warehouse that's become available recently.
Well, we have a very good friend who we have saved his warehouse for him. Perhaps we should take a share in it.
That sounds acceptable, and a central.
Especially because his father's just died.
That would give him protection of a wayfaring group with influence.
Oops, wrong one.
And of course, as an aside, if our actions remove Christopher Hemsby, we also remove his greatest competitor.
Yeah, well, of course, if that's a paid job, we're not vigilante. We're not,
Well, no, Hemsby owns the house to which this Spanish treasonous weapons are due to be delivered.
I'm just trying to get the big map out. I think it's this one. This is the big map of the city.
What I'm thinking is that the Castilian pays us to go and take out Hensworth. We're not just going to do it out of the goodness of our hearts.
We could
are a business at the end of the
work
day.
on some type of share basis. Anything that we find is we have like equal shares, maybe, or equal shares for us 4 and Shrike, and the other men get a lesser share or something. But maybe offer them a
That's
wage.
actually a most excellent idea. If we put Strike in as an equal share and he then pays the men out of his share.
That's what he was doing anyway,
All right.
effectively. That's why he had the money upstairs.
Don't see
Shall
how
we put that to him?
Yeah, offer it to him, or even if he says no, you can offer it to some of the men. Might decide. Might
we
decide.
might to hire a guard or two.
Well, he's obviously already established a layer of command with those men since they are here.
But if he says no, we send them on the way, but they walk him. They don't take the horses. We keep the horses.
That's fair enough. Is that agreeable?
That sounds fair to me.
Just as a sideline, guys, for me, this is what End of Kings is about, what you've been just going through now. You're basically, there's moments which most of the time you sort of avoided in yesterday's game, in this game, there's certainly battle systems and fighting systems and combat and all that. But for the most part, you're going to get right into dealing with not necessarily complex matters, but influential matters within the game struck quite quickly, and involving yourself with real stuff that's going on around you. And I want the game to feel like that, and this is what gives it the 17th century quality that I'm hoping for. So I'm absolutely delighted by what you've been saying, just as a creator of
I
the game.
just want to start my own little army up.
Nice, go on.
No, but it makes sense. We're mercenaries at the end of the day. We are in the business to be hired. We're not going to
Absolutely.
go and randomly take out a lord for a reason. It's got to be to our advantage. You know, it's not a
Absolutely.
everybody meets in the tavern, goes on a quest. You know, goes into the dungeon, steals the treasure, kills the monster. It's
Have we chosen a side? Are we for? If we were for the king, we would have gone and joined him, wouldn't we? I presume. Are we still undecided?
I have, in Brancaster, been pointedly not on any side.
Mhm.
And it doesn't seem to have done any harm right now.
Whoever pays most, is that the side? Could we?
I would think we have to look at our longer term futures. My intent, to be quite candid, my intent is to outshine my elder brother who inherited the lordship. I want more lands, I want more wealth, I want more houses. And up until this moment, I have not found anybody that I would like to share it with. Not until now. But I have to say, the people who are around me right now, I would very much like to share that with.
Aspirations of a merchant king? I can.
Yeah, we all share 25% of a lordship.
If we can somehow arrange for 10,000 acres, it's doable. I know it is because my brother managed it and he's an idiot. It's doable. I certainly have the name and the blood, but you gentlemen have the ability.
I am liking this dockside warehouse. I'm liking the idea of goods coming in and out and deals happening. Maybe not so much overtly part of the war, but there's always going to be trade and there's always opportunity. I like the idea of establishing a base because none of us get any younger as we carry on through life.
I
absolutely agree.
We've got a perfect guy there, William. He's very smart and he'll do as he's told.
Smart. Yes.
And we have Strike, who could possibly put a couple of men there to guard our investment.
Yeah, we've got to be wary of the mafia people, haven't we?
Yes.
The bounded.
If we take out Hemsby, but by some careful politicking, then we will be seen as a force not to be messed with.
Absolutely.
And maybe a force to do some business with.
People have come up worse ways.
Absolutely.
So let's put this then.
Very well.
Put it to Strike first, obviously, and.
I for some reason, it is beyond me. I seem to annoy him. I don't know why. I mean, I'm a man of impeccable taste. I like Madeira. I have a fantastic lining calf, and my stockings are wonderful. I don't understand why anyone wouldn't.
Let's just say you are suited for speaking to another class of gentleman or lady who we might rub up the wrong way. But for these sort of transactions, leave it to us.
Maybe he's just jealous of you, Percival. Your style and.
I hadn't thought of that, but it makes incredible sense.
Much like Richard.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I see we have a man of wisdom amongst us.
I just try to keep the peace.
Very well. Well, if you'd like to put it to Strike, then let's see if we can strike a deal.
Oh, I see what you did there. Just to again.
Sorry,
I saw what you did there. Strike a deal.
We've got.
Very witty.
We've got.
No, you were the one that. There's only one thing worse than being witty.
That is not being witty.
Yeah. Okay. We've Oscar Wilde. That was one of Oscar's. No. Just for the sake of brevity, again. Strike is really pleased with this. He's a businessman. He's a sellsword. He will, as long as you pay the man, as long as he comes out with a type of advantage which you're clearly giving him, he's very happy. And he himself will vet the men. For instance, the guy that you've beaten up, he's going to get rid of him straight away anyway, because he's not going to have that sort of thing going on within his company. So if you're okay with it, he'll have 5 men.
Excellent.
Yeah, because the one that he's, because if he'd have realised that I've done as he told you, he would have done that himself, and he would have probably done it with the poker like you thought of.
Maybe we can set about him finding some more men as well.
Well, that could be a future, not immediate. Immediately, should we go back to Brancaster then and actually take the weapons back to the warehouse where we started?
I think that's
an excellent idea.
Okay, there's certainly enough horses, and indeed Henry, who's the actual farmer, he'll be happy to lend horses to get it all the way back to Brancaster. And the warehouse is practically empty, so it'll be able to carry the containments of weapons, which they haven't really been unpacked. So this will be quite an easy job, and it will take possibly about a 3-hour journey to be carefully doing this.
Henry has draft horses, and it's always useful to know somebody who can move stuff around for us. So I'm going to give Henry £1 for his trouble.
Okay. Take it off your character.
I have. I've just knocked off £1.
We've got 3 spare horses because the 2 dead guys don't need theirs, and our good friend, the late Edmund, doesn't need his horse anymore.
That's true.
Or his equipment.
That's true. Not that
Out of interest, does Henry have a riding horse?
Henry does have a riding horse. That was the 3rd horse I mentioned.
That's okay.
That was already there. There was the 2 cart horses and the riding horse. So he's already sorted out. But his son doesn't.
Perhaps a donation?
Okay.
Then we will get someone who can cart our goods.
Yeah.
Without anybody needing to know.
I will get this sorted out as game master, because I'm just aware that if this was an ongoing game that was going to take a lot more hours, then we would take it at this pace. But I'm just conscious that you've made some fantastic choices. The wagons will make their way back into Brancaster, which in itself has got a sort of a humorous irony attached to it, especially when Christopher Hemsley's warehouse is almost like a spitting distance from where it's. So the big joke is going to be that although it was supposed to be aiming for Azerley Manor, which belongs to Christopher Hemsby, that all the goods will still be next door to and he'll never know.
Because the messenger will have obviously reported back that everything is tickety-boo.
Absolutely. Yes. So you guys, if you want to, I'll get you heading back towards the warehouse, and everything else will get sorted.
We'll speak to the young lad, William, and get him on board.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
Cool. Okay, so you get back to the warehouse. I hope you didn't mind me doing a bit of a editing moment there.
Oh, by all means.
Cool.
Did we, again, accidentally create a campaign out of a one-shot? Oops.
It's
not an IMT thing at all.
No. I purposefully designed this so that it could create campaigns. All my adventures have got these. The first one that you played the other time is literally out of one of the core rule books. It's the one that you played, I think, is from the Quick Start book. Mm-hmm. So it's literally designed as a taster for the actual game. This one is one of the adventures, and as such, I purposefully lead loads of open ends. Yep. So the players themselves can start doing stuff.
IMT with a bit of a reputation of...
No, I love it. I love it. No,
thinking big has never been a crime.
This is technically not a one-shot in a sense that it's. Andy has actually gone through most of the book ones that I've written with one character, and I've actually put it chronologically so that he can go from one to the other with one character. And all of them have created a big threading saga, if you like. So I've done it like that, but also all of them have got ways that you can go off the beaten track, start developing your own ideas. And that's what I want. I want this to be a game which can either be treated as a one-shot or a game that enables you to really get stuck in. I've even got a whole chapter on building your own properties, including all the prices. So, yeah. Anyway, I shall get the map up for the ground floor of the warehouse and we'll take it from there. So here you are back at the warehouse. This is the ground floor of the warehouse, if you remember from yesterday. William is still there. He's now wearing a sort of like more mourning weeds. The body of his father has been removed and he's sort of in a bit of a loss as to what to do. So you arrive. Do you arrive separately from the cars?
No, I think we'll probably come with them.
Come together.
We don't trust Shrike and his men just yet.
Okay.
That's going to take a minute.
What do you think ever
Okay.
happened to that like dog-sized rat?
We
dog-
That's right.
Well, I mean, I'd love William to have grabbed hold of the dog-sized rat and then sort of got some taxidermists to put it into an odd shape and then given it armor.
You find out he's like adopted them as like pets, and that's how
Well, yeah, I hope so. I'll
What-
just show you another bit of this map because
What
it is.
What's he done with the two men that we left with him?
Oh, that's true.
Drowned them.
No. He would have let them go because he's a bit stupid and he's not. But so he would have just let them go because he wouldn't have known what else to do with them, and he would have had to have fed them and watered them, and they'd have needed the loo and all that stuff. And he just wanted everyone out of. To be fair, he was emotionally so messed up about the death of his father that he didn't want these two strangers to remind him about what's just happened. So he has got rid of them, but not in a nasty way because William probably doesn't have a violent bone in his body.
We'll change that.
Love it. Now, down the side passage, which I've just revealed to you, he did find. I'll just do it just because I love the drawing. It's one of my favorite drawings in the book that I did. And so this is. Come on. Okay, so this is the stairs going down. And at the bottom of it, you can see there was another one of these rats. This rat's already completely drowned. The bottom part of this water is actually filled with water. And I'll just... this is a door that would go into the cellar. This is the... Up here is the other door, which you'd have seen on the map. And so this is the side passage. But in here, there's another drowned rat of the same size. So it's the second one. He would have known about that, but he wouldn't have the courage to even move it. So it's still there now.
Lovely.
Um,
We need a rat catcher.
Well, some of men can do cleanup duty. Some of the lower
Yeah,
ranks.
you just need a shovel. You don't need a rat catcher.
Well, it's certainly an opportunity to have a drive-through burger bar, isn't it?
rat. I won't use a
Right
pun.
through.
I won't make a pun about Ratatouille because that's just not right. That line, by the way, if you remember from yesterday, indicates where he did detect evil.
Yeah.
And that's where there was a line beneath him. So he was on this floor level. You'd opened this up and found water. But he also, so you'd found the giant rat there, another giant rat there. Okay. And you'd found that this area here is filled with water, and there was a sort of, it was tainted with evil.
Right. We'll need to hire a witch finder at a later point to look into this. But for now, we set up temporary billets in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Get the weapons that are going to disappear to other places sorted out, and then we'll go visit the Castilian.
Easy. Easy. That sums it up beautifully. Okay. So that will take you. You rest up. You've had about a 3 or 4 hour journey to get there. You get all the wagons sorted out. Then you'll spend probably a couple of hours going through the goods yourself, and they're all in perfect and brand new condition. They've all come from Bilbao in Spain, which is renowned for the high quality arms and armor that it produces. And it really is the goods. So you'll sort of open up these cases and seeing wrapped up in cloth of these perfect brand new matchlock muskets.
Wow.
And then you open up another one and you can see these flintlock horse pistols. And they're about how Andy? Specialists? Horse pistols. Yep. How long are they?
They're about 18-inch barrels.
Yeah. 4.5 long, these barrels.
Really? What is it?
They used to actually have on the saddle a socket for a piece of metal for the horseman to rest the pistol on, didn't they, Andy?
Yeah. Well, they either did that, but as they went into the Civil War, they started just making something leather that you could just cheaply put over a saddle with a pair of pistols.
Yeah, just so that they could steady the pistol. But nevertheless, these are flintlock pistols. This is wonderful. One of the beautiful things about a flintlock pistol is you can preload it.
The biggest thing is it works in the wet.
And it works in the wet. A matchlock, you're dealing with a lit. Just for everyone else, the match is actually a length of rope that's been soaked. Actually, I think was it soaked in wee, partly.
It's soaked in nitrate that you get out of wee.
Yeah, and it means that it will burn at a very specific rate. It's about a foot an hour it burns. And if you had quite a lot of soldiers that all had matchlock muskets, what they generally do is they'd have one of them with their match alight and the others wouldn't be. Because otherwise you'd be wasting stuff. And then when it came to the combat, they start lighting from that one. At night, one of the problems is that the enemy could see the glows from the lit matches. And that would give the game away, almost like what happened in First World War with the guys lighting cigarettes from the trenches, and it would light them up. So that was one of the drawbacks. And of course, when it rained, the matches and you wouldn't be able to get them working. So these flintlock pistols are beautiful. You can preload them, which means that it's literally like Wild West. You can pull it out, fire it. It takes a bit of a time to reload the pistol because it's still front loaded, isn't it? Yeah, so you'd have to then turn the pistol on its end and push stuff down the barrel again, and then make sure it's rammed in, put the ram underneath the pistol in a clip, and then fire it again. So you still had a rate of fire that was relatively slow. It's not like a repeater. They did actually experiment with repeater pistols there. But these are beautiful. So this is what you've got. So it's up to you what you want to keep for yourselves, what you want to send off to Lady Purfleet. And once you've done that, you've sorted out, I'm not going to go into detail straight away. You're going to go straight to, and I'm just going to go back to the main map. You make your way, I'm going to pan in. At the moment, your warehouse is just here. Okay, so you make your way, and this is where the Castilian is housed. So you've got, from this point onwards, you're looking at the castle guard. These are tough dudes, so you don't mess about. Also, you'll know from your warlock that this whole area, not your warlock, sorry, your witch hunter, that this whole area is warded. There's no amount of magic that will be able to get in through this area. From the moat inwards is completely protected.
It's a good thing we come in peace.
Absolutely. So you make your way round to these gates. Are you going to bring anything with you, or just yourselves?
Let's bring the letters, the notes that we've had.
Okay.
Because they are hard evidence.
Okay.
And it's also hard evidence for SG, who I am assuming is one of the upright men, as in one of the mafia, and that will get them into huge trouble. It'll also deal with the Hemsworth issue as far as the trade area is
you
concerned.
get to this bit, just to remind you that I'll just show you the note again, just to sort of I don't want you to sort of like forget about stuff which you've already been through. So I'll just show you this note again, and this is one of the notes that you've got with you, and the fact that it's got these signs on it. And that, if you remember, this one is dedicated to St. Colin, and this indicates the Brethren of Enoch. Okay, I'm just reminding you of that. And so and obviously this is SG. So I'm just reminding you of that, just for so that you're just keeping it all focused. Okay. So when you arrive there is a strange crowd that are lined up making their way into the castle. It's almost like a tourist day, but it isn't. And the guards are being very patient. You know, they've got their spontoons. Spontoons are short pole arms, and they're all wearing cuirass, which have been highly polished. They've all got red broad-brimmed hats with feathers in. It's a type of uniform that indicates that these are the guard of the castle. And they're standing aside, allowing this queue of various people coming into the castle itself. This is managed by people all the way along, and you look beyond into the castle that's on a hill. I'll just pan in a bit. There you go. And this queue is winding its way into the castle until it comes to... This is a simplified drawing. This isn't a detailed map of the castle itself. Oh, there are other buildings around here, and most of them are making their way to one of the buildings in front of the main building. And they're obviously going into the building and then out again, and then making the way back out through here. So you've got this two-way stream of people going on.
Well, I'm certainly absolutely going to be going on horseback. It would be inappropriate to do anything else.
One of the guards looks up at you and he says, "Excuse me, sir, if you'd like to dismount, if you're going to be entering the castle grounds."
Do so, certainly.
Thank you, sir. I take it you're going to join the queue?
What precisely is the queue for?
Oh, are you going to ask the guard?
Yes.
Okay. Every other month there is it is one of the edicts that has been given out by Lord Craven that any disputes are to be heard by the Castilian once every 2 months. This is the day. So I'm afraid you're in a queue. If this isn't what you weren't intending to be here for, then I'm afraid that he's going to be very busy today looking at deputations and deciding whether they're to go to the petty sessions or whether they're to be basically kicked out because there's a couple of old women that are mindering each other. It's a show of, shall we say, communication between his lordship and the people.
Yes.
Sort of like a Percival, would the good lady be somebody to speak to while this is going on?
Well, I can certainly go see if she's in the town. It's not certain she will be.
I'm at the Castilian's wife. Doesn't she want was that not the rumor that she wants to play more of a hand?
Lord Cranford's wife.
Oh,
yeah.
look.
Craven, sorry.
All right.
Write it down, Andrew.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
It's got an R in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say to the guard then. Do you happen to know if Lord Craven's wife, secretary, is available?
He looked slightly confused for a moment. He said, "So you're not here for the sessions then, sir?"
Oh, goodness, no.
Oh, many apologies. He looks you up and down and says, "Are you here to see Lady Craven?" Oh,
Is she have time to see me?
Is she aware that you're wanting to see her?
No, this is very much a spontaneous event. Which is why I asked for her secretary.
Oh, very well, sir. Your lordship, may I give her your name?
Percival Warwick.
Lord Percival Warwick of...
Just Percival Warwick. It is my brother who is the lord.
Oh, very well, sir. Sure you on a squire, sir?
That would be fine.
Excellent. I'll send a messenger post haste, and very shortly you should get a reply as to whether she will see you.
Very
you
kind.
basically step aside from the queues of peasantry, commoners, and such like, all with glum looks on their faces, some with parchments, some with actually wounds on their bodies from something that's gone on. And within about 5 minutes, the messenger turns up, and the guard looks in vague surprise at the response and says, apparently her ladyship is quite pleased to see you, so if you'd like to make your way straight through to the castle, sir, you will be escorted when you get there by one of the castle servants.
Very well. Let's all make our way through.
Okay. One thing, sir, before you go, are you carrying any magic with you?
No.
Very well. You must understand the regulations that nobody may carry magic within the grounds of the castle.
I would not consider doing so.
Very well, sir. As I expected, you are an esquire. You make your way through to the main part of the building. You see the queues, and you sort of laugh slightly that you're avoiding them all. And meeting you at the foot of the large steps, if you're with horses, another servant will quickly come along and grab hold of the reins of the horse, and he'll sort of nod at you. And you make your way up the steps, and a servant is there to greet you. At the top of the steps, one of the valets will open the doors for you, and the servant will escort you through to a day room on the right-hand side of the main foyer. And when you come in here, now we're talking castle. The actual the foyer, the front room, flagstones, pillars going up about 20 feet. Massive staircase at the other end of it, about 6 doors leading off in all directions, and but you are escorted to the first one on the right hand side, which is again a huge room with a ceiling that's about 20 feet up, and you look up and you can see that the ceiling is completely covered in plasterwork. You can see that the walls are covered in tapestries. Now, if you don't know anything else, the most expensive decorative item that you'll ever find in any castle will be tapestries. And this is where the guests go to prove that this castle is extremely well off. The servant immediately asks, "Is there anything that I can fetch you before her ladyship comes to see you?"
No, we are quite comfortable, thank you very much.
Very good. Excellent.
Some Madeira.
Sir, Madeira. Very well. I'll see if there's some in the cellar, sir.
You missed a trick there, Percival.
One would if one hadn't been here before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mistake. If you see chairs about, don't sit down. You're expected to remain standing. And you'd need somewhere to put the Madeira glass down when we actually go in to see her ladyship. And there's nowhere.
There is a gap of about 5-6 minutes. You're looking around and just wondering what world that you are living in, that it has a room like this. It's just so crazy, this place. The amount of opulence. One of those tapestries will be probably the same value of one of the townhouses that you've just passed. It's just absolutely insane sort of money you're talking about here. And after about 5 minutes, a door on the far end opens, and a lady in full obviously courtier garb, opens the door and says, "If you would like to come in through here, her ladyship will see you now."
Thank you. Let's take a step through the door and perform all the appropriate bows and courtesies as we enter the room to her.
10 minutes later, she's looking at her watch. Have you finished the ritual? Her ladyship is in the far end. You can see behind her there's the equivalent of French windows. Around this time, some of the castles had been adapted to have ginormous open glass windows, and this one is the light is pouring in through the rear. You can see in front that there's a table. She's sitting at a table, and by her are 2 Irish wolfhounds, huge brutes, and she's sort of feeding them off her table as she's eating and drinking. And she sort of looks over at you. She's very elegant to look at. She's probably in her late 40s. She seems to keep herself very fit physically, which is seemingly, you're sort of almost an unusual thing to note. You do expect her to be quite almost old womanly, but she's not. And there's a look about her straight away, the way when you sum her up, to make you realize that she's got a good head on her shoulders. And she's used to being in charge. She's got that look about her, that demeanor, not only because she's the lady of the castle, but maybe in her own right, that she would stand up for herself. She sort of looks at you for a moment and says, I understand you wanted to see my secretary.
Yes, my lady.
I thought I'd see you personally, just out of curiosity. I have heard of you, sir. You are a master swordsman.
Indeed, my lady.
And recently you agreed to train some of my husband's men?
Yes, my lady.
Excellent. Very, very pleased. Very pleased. If you are everything that the reputation says, that this should stand us in good stead. Anyway, I take it you're not here on that matter. So, okay, so she sort of says, so why would you like to see me? Or my secretary?
Well, my lady, my colleagues and I intercepted a Spanish consignment coming into town. Arms and armor. Wait,
excuse me, sorry. Spanish consignment, explain.
Spanish weapons, Spanish made, being smuggled through Brancaster.
Smuggled?
Yes,
Do you know who the perpetrators were?
We do have 2 letters, madam, if I may present them.
I'd be delighted to see them.
Let's show her the letters, the signed SG, particularly the one that suggests where they're due to go.
Okay. You know this man? This Mr. Hemsby?
Hemsby, we actually came across the name because we have given some assistance to a merchant who Hemsby has been trying to force a sale of his warehouse.
You're coming at me with an awful lot of accusations here. These letters are damning enough. And I take it you have the goods as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Why have you come to see me?
Why
haven't you waited for my husband to return from Berwick?
We thought the matter more urgent than waiting.
So it's more of a matter of urgency than politics?
I rather think that your husband will be some time longer than that.
It's 23 hours.
Certainly longer than 23 hours.
Why did you just say this? You think my husband will be longer than that? What?
Berwick is a good distance, madam.
Ah, I see. So nothing to do with politics or taking sides?
Oh, no, man. No.
Because you do realise what you're providing me with here as a distinctly political thing, as well as one that's breaking the law. You're not trying to get yourself inveigled in city politics, are you?
No.
We're just trying to do the right thing.
She looks at you briefly. Oh, a commoner that speaks. Oh, how pleasant. She stands up and she just looks at you all. No, seriously, I mean it, folk. This is most heartening, and I am still confused as to why you have spoken to me and not directly addressed the Castilian. Is that what your intention was initially?
Initially, yes, milady.
You do realise that every time you walk into this building, then politics takes the fore, and the fact that you have spoken to me does actually make a difference. Because I will make a different decision other than Lord Crow. Lord Crow will probably take this very much as something. So, for instance, the consignment. What do you want of it?
We had discussed amongst ourselves providing 1/3 of the weapons to the Lord to protect Lancaster.
And it makes no matter that the Lord is pro King Charles.
We are pro Brancaster, milady.
You see how difficult this matter is?
Exceedingly, milady.
You have made a very fortunate or perhaps very shrewd decision in coming to speak to me, because if it had been Lord Crow that you were speaking of, no doubt he would ask for the totality of the consignments. As it stands, I believe you have a right to keep what is yours, and you have volunteered to come to me with the rest of the information. So, as far as Mr. Hemsby is concerned, I will see to it that he is dealt with.
Milady.
Are you intending to take the matter further personally with Mr. Hemsby?
I think it best left in your ladyship's hands.
Very well. Have you any idea why you wish to take over the other warehouse?
At the moment, I am not sure, milady, but we are going to explore the warehouse in detail.
Explore the warehouse? This sounds curious. She smiles a little. This sounds as if you are taking the role of wayfarers within the city itself.
It is our nature, milady.
Oh, I'd be interested to find out what you come up with. Just out of a matter of curiosity. After all, I'm not given much to do around here. Very well. Whatever you choose to give to the castle will be gratefully received. If you do not wish that to be included as a political advantage, then I will say no more about it. Otherwise, I will let Lord Crow know that you have volunteered to give extra armaments for the benefit of Brancaster. Do you wish me to do so?
If your ladyship wishes to.
She looks at the rest of you. And you are happy for this gentleman to speak for you?
Absolutely. We came to agreement before coming in. We have a system.
Good. You are a good group. Very well. This will be so. I shall deal with Hemsby. You hand over as much of the consignment as you desire. The rest of it is yours.
Your ladyship.
And thank you for coming to see me. It has brightened my day.
I'm much gratified, my ladyship.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
Take a couple of steps back, acknowledge her as is appropriate, and let's get the hell out of there.
Okay.
Everyone runs for the door.
What a curious bunch of people. Anyway, you get your horses, you head your back out into the street. There.
Oh.
So where do you wish to go now?
I need a glass of Madeira.
Sorry, I was cutting in and out.
That's
So
okay.
we have not been tasked to visit any stately homes. We're busy waiting out.
Okay.
So I suppose we'll arrange for the transport of the weapons in to the
Yeah.
Yes.
get that
Okay.
out of the
Yeah.
way, so that we're not sitting on top of them waiting to get burgled.
Okay.
Because that's
Mm.
the longer that stays in the warehouse, the more chance that
Okay.
going to attract attention. So
There will be one consignment heading off if you are continuing with your plan to go to Elizabeth Purfleet. That's north of Brancaster. There
Yep.
will be another part of the consignment that's heading off to the castle itself, and then there's a small amount that you keep.
Mhm.
That's as
Yeah.
I understood it. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
How you wish to
And
deal with that?
those we can sell through William, and that will also mean that he will get the trade of his warehouse started again.
Okay, excellent. Good. Do you wish to make anything legal with regards to the warehouse itself and your involvement in it?
yes,
Okay. At the moment, William is basically, he's worked in the warehouse all his life, but he hasn't a clue what to do with it. And he's basically looking to you guys to help. So he's more than happy for some sort of partnership to take place. And this will mean that you would have an ongoing, as long as the warehouse is working, and maybe you need to hire somebody to do that in due course. If this was an ongoing game, that's what you do, and then you basically have a small amount of money a month coming in, and that's how I treat it.
Excellent.
But in the meantime, there's two issues at hand. One, that there is the Chapel of St. Colin and this SG character. And the other one is, as we looked at a little bit earlier on, which is the magical cellars of the warehouse itself. So I don't know how you're going to deal with those, if anything.
Well,
So,
what do you fancy first?
we haven't been hired to investigate, have we?
No.
You haven't been hired to do anything.
Yeah. So,
No.
just logically speaking, just going on the quest doesn't make sense for we're trying to set up a business. We've kind of uncovered this. We've done what we need to establish ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If you know where I'm coming from, so we've no incentive to investigate any further unless a request.
So what are you going to do with the warehouse, which has got a flooded basement? Yeah, I mean, obviously, it has been an ongoing concern for the last probably 10, 20 years with that padlock trap door just left shut.
Well, to be honest, with a sense, we've now got a financial stake in this warehouse. So we've also got a financial stake in whatever's downstairs.
You have to
We
get
also need to
builders in,
hire a new
sort it
witch
out.
finder or cutting foot. We need to hire somebody. Maybe we should have interviews.
Yeah, well, we need someone who can effectively provide some advice for the business.
It is about 2 days later. You've been discussing this. You've been sort of basically living off the proceeds of what you've been doing, and you've been doing a lot of work which is very unadventure-y, which is not a bad thing in this game. And but then very strangely a stationer arrives and he's got a message, and it's from this SG character that he requires to speak with whoever is representative of the warehouse.
They want the warehouse, don't they, because of the magic downstairs?
It could be. It's either that or they need the warehouse to move their goods through. I don't know which.
I think it's the magic. There's something going on.
He's basically saying he's giving you the name of a tavern that's in the northwest care of quarter of Brancaster to meet up with him that evening.
Oh, is it a
that the
particular
mafia
tavern
area?
It is the mafia area. Well, basically, it's the cheap area. Yes.
Is he going to wear a red rose so we can recognise
Carnation.
Carnation?
And he's
Or a sign with SG.
Yes. Yeah.
He'll know who we are because of Percival and his pink top.
Well, yeah, they probably
Everybody
already
knows
do
it.
know exactly what you look like.
So Percival's going to go and meet him.
Well, do we all go, or does only one of us or a number of us go?
All 9 of us.
Well, no,
Armed to the teeth.
we can leave our men at arms to guard the.
Yeah.
Only senior management need to.
They're just
And to be honest, I don't feel, and unless we have discussed matters, I'm not in a position to make any agreements.
Right, I think we all need to go, don't we?
Yeah.
Does he ask for us all in the letter? Is it all of us?
It's a bit vague. It's basically saying if you can meet me at.
Well, if we're agreeable, then we should all go.
I mean, he might not know about the men that have joined us, so if he's thinking of like raiding the warehouse, he'll have a surprise, won't
Okay.
Substantial surprise.
So yeah, let's go.
Okay, all of us together then.
You end up. There's a tavern. It's this corner. Hold on, let me get the right thingy bob going. So this corner building here is a tavern, and this is the one that you've been aimed at. So you go all the way through past the cathedral and through into. And we're talking. You have to hold your noses. It's bad. It's as I said. This is the area where the 100 constables never go. And
so it's lavender handkerchief time.
The idea of lavender is even the lavender handkerchief won't do much good. So you have to just breathe it in and hope for the best. You arrive there, you get into the place, and it's busy. It's very busy. The beer is it's alcoholic. One could say it's whatever it is. It's loud. There is. Actually, the music is amazing. It's raucous. Everyone's singing along. Big roaring fire. Everything's cheap as muck. And you can see as you go into the tavern, off to the left-hand side, there is quite a large table, and there's nobody sitting at it apart from a single character who looks like he's a monk, dressed in a cream white outfit, completely covered over so you can't see his face. And literally, there's a gap. There's the big table, he's sitting at it, and nobody's near him, and it's almost like he doesn't exist, and the table doesn't exist.
I think we've met our host. Shall we?
We shall.
We didn't get the wrong table.
As you approach, he pulls his hood back, and this is the gentleman.
He's got the right symbol on.
He is, as you sort of see him, he looks like he's from Spain or some sort of like Mediterranean country. He's got very aquiline nose. He's got a very, very rigid haircut, and generally speaking, he's very un-English in his demeanor. He's an unusual looking man. And he just looks at you with the hooded eyes, and he smiles at you and says, I'm afraid the provender of this place isn't what you might be expecting. So you can choose to order food and drink as you wish. Or shall we get down to business, gentlemen?
I think perhaps business would be a good idea.
Oh, well.
Well, the rest of us are going to have Madeira, but yeah, business.
Well, I wish you'd said so. This is probably the finest establishment for Madeira in the whole city, and nobody ever knew. I'll get round to him. Okay. So, I thought it was about time that you and I met, all of you. I take it you have the consignment of weapons?
Yes.
So, all right. So I also take it that you now have legal involvement with the warehouse.
Indeed.
How much do you know about the place?
Well, our involvement is a matter of days old, but we will discover a lot of things, no doubt.
Do you know who you're dealing with?
I hazard you're about to tell us.
No, it was a genuine question. I just wanted to know how much you knew about things already. I take it you know of the involvement of Mr. Christopher Hemsby, the merchant?
We do indeed.
He's not going to be a very happy man. Okay, well, you followed my plans, and congratulations, gentlemen, on that one. I'm quite impressed. Don't get me wrong, I'm not your enemy. I'm actually genuinely quite impressed by you. No harm was going to be meant in any direction in this matter. It's just that you have cut it short. You've taken my leverage away from me, and so I've been forced to talk to you directly. What is your involvement with regards to the king, the matters at Berwick, the involvement of Lord Craven of Brancaster? How much do you know him? I know you went to see the castle today. I'm just wondering what you spoke with the Castilian about.
Our interest rests entirely with having a good relationship with Brancaster.
So we share the same interest in that direction, at least.
As for greater politics, right at this moment I am not interested.
Unfortunately, it is interested in you. You've already made that mistake. You've got your foot in the water and you can't take it out. As soon as you took that consignment of armaments, you got yourself involved. So the meeting tonight for me is to let you know what you've got yourself involved in.
Very well.
Very well. All right. So I acquired the armaments as a bargaining chip with Mr. Hemsby to gain access of the warehouse.
I see.
You took my bargaining chip away, and you have also removed the influence of Mr. Hemsby in court. Which leaves me in a bit of a pickle. To be honest, I don't really care about Hemsby. He's an idiot.
I take it your interest is access.
Ultimately, yes. But then I imagine you're going to be wondering what the purpose of that access would be and what my ultimate intention might be.
You
Our
certainly
Witchfinder may have given us a hint before his untimely demise. There appears to be something magical afoot.
So are you talking directly to him at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, so what did you just say?
I just said our Witchfinder, before his untimely demise, let us know that there's something magical afoot in the building.
I am just concerned about what you might find. I also know that there's something magic in the cellar, but I also know that it's so heavily warded that there's no way I can understand what it is. I also know that the building is ancient, possibly about 200 years old, the lower part of it. This means that there is potentially a very, very powerful source of magic that's underneath the warehouse that nobody has used for 200 years. I do not know what you might find. I don't know what I might find. But I do know that finding it and gaining access to it might change the fate of the city. So I've laid my hands on the table. I know no more than you, beyond the fact that it might be some form of magic circle. And if that is the case, then it is a major crux point. This could have a massive change in the fate of Brancaster.
Good change or bad change?
Depends on who's gained access to it. The energies that come through the glimmering lands and in through the veil are nothing more than neutral energy. It is the behavior of humans that changes them to be good or evil.
Well, I'm of the mind that such energy should be left buried maybe for another 200 years before people consider.
Unfortunately, if you do that, then someone else won't do. It is quite common knowledge among most of the caster guilds in the livery hall that there is something going on in that warehouse. The attention has already been drawn to it over the last few weeks. If we don't deal with it, if you don't deal with it, then you are going to find that place having to be a fortress that you're going to have to keep defending against possibly less truthful men than myself.
Why is it attracting rats?
Speak plainly, sir. Rats?
Yeah, giant rats.
Giant rats?
Mm.
He pauses. This is a genuine surprise to him. He thinks for a moment. Giant rats.
Dog-sized rats.
He goes slightly pale. This is quite a shock. He sort of looks back at you and says, this is possibly more dangerous than you realise then. This is not a controlled magic circle. What you might have in there is some form of uncontrolled rent in the veil itself. Things might be coming through. A taint, a stain from the Shadowlands.
Do you want to buy a warehouse?
He smiles. That's an irony, isn't it? Yes, that's what the whole point of all this was about, that I gained access to the warehouse so I could deal with the matter.
Very round the houses way to go about purchasing a property.
That's because I didn't want anyone else involved in it and knowing about it, particularly fraternities of the casters. Because when you get a source of incredible power, certainly a new one within a city, then there's an awful lot of different people that are going to be interested in. I wanted to find out about this thing without too many other people knowing about it. I wanted to gain control of it. Now, I'm just going to add one more piece of information to that equation. He holds on to his crucifix. He says, do you know anything about this or myself? What I stand for, who I represent.
Brothers of Anarchism.
Well done, sir. And do you know what our purpose is?
Frankly, no.
James I, when he was 9 months old, was crowned in Scotland. He was crowned according to the wishes of his mother, Mary, Queen of Scots, using the ritual called the Banais Raigi. The Banais Raigi is that that enables the ruler of the land to marry themselves to the land itself. This is a ritual which is more than just a ritual. It is more than just pageantry. It is a spiritual necessity that if anybody is to rule the land, then they must dedicate themselves to the land through this ritual. James I, when he acquired the throne in 1603, well, what shall we say, 33 years ago, he came down to London and he refused to take part in the ritual. And from that point onwards, the Stuarts have been ruling a country in name only. They have been wearing a hollow crown. They have not been naming it because they are not part of the country. They are, not only are they Scottish kings, but they have separated this kingdom from the true power of the world, which is through the elemental plane, through the glimmering lands. This is a partnership between ourselves and our natures. And James I and now his son Charles I has ignored all this. He thinks he's ruling the country, but he is not. The country does not recognize him until he's committed to that ritual. This was laid down in the text of John Dee, and it has been ignored. All I wish is Charles I to take that ritual. This is all I am asking. And so far, there is no way that he will do so. He is such an arrogant man. He is an idiot and he is a fool. He thinks he's ruling the country, but he is not. And he is actually presiding over a country that is going to descend into chaos and madness. There will be war. I can stop this. I can stop this right away. As soon as he participates in the Barnaz Reigi, all will be well. But he is not going to do so, and I predict, gentlemen, that there will be war. We can all see it happening.
And the warehouse and what lies beneath it
is a major source of power that will enable me to gain influence over Lord Craven. Lord Craven has the ear of the king. Think about it. If he has the ear of the king and I have his ear, then I also have the ear of the king. This is all I'm asking. There is nothing evil in what I am proposing to do.
Are you then proposing an alliance with us?
I'm proposing that you listen to reason, that you allow me to do what I can. I have got no evil intent to you. Whatever you have done so far, you have done with the knowledge that you possess, and I am unaware of any evil or any action that you have taken that stands against me. And I do not intend to be your enemy in any way. If you will not allow me entry to that warehouse, then I must urge you to investigate what's down there yourselves and to take appropriate action. If you will not allow me that, then I will back aside. I will not press the matter, but others might. I might be your best bet.
You will appreciate that this is something that we will need to discuss.
Of course, in your own time, sir.
I think it would be best if we discuss it quickly.
In which case, may I see you, if you want to send a message, all you need to do is send a message, an anonymous one, maybe with some sort of symbol, and you post it in the public box in the Chapel of St. Colin, and I will receive it.
Oh, just give us 5 minutes while we go into corner room and have a discussion.
Huddle, huddle, huddle.
Yeah.
Huddle, huddle. Let's all go into the corner of the room. What are your thoughts?
He's had no hand in William's father's death, has he? That was the other guy that was trying to get the warehouse in.
That's the only bit that's perturbing me. The fact that
Yes, but he didn't have a hand in it, as far as I
died
can.
for no reason.
He's trying to buy them out and control them, but then this guy's angle seems to be a weird angle if he's working with those guys.
Edmund was pretty upset, if you remember.
Yeah.
He was concerned. But events overtook us. I have no abilities to investigate a magical circle in a basement.
Neither have I. Now, if, as he says, this is a powerful crux point, then he may well be the person that can explore it for us, but I think if he is an honourable man, we need to come to a formal agreement before we say yes. Ultimately, we need to keep control of this.
Personally, I have no interest in magical circles, or
I think we could just shut it
that
down.
sort of
No one controls it.
Yeah. We need a warehouse base of operations. If that happens to be next door, across the street, 3 streets away, I'm happy with that. If the magical circle can be contained, dealt with, looked at, whatever needs to happen, and we carry on business as normal, I'm happy with that also.
It dawns on me. Silly of me not to think of this before. But what could the magical circle do for us?
Get us killed.
What? I think perhaps it's a question we should have answered.
It will give us. It's saying it will give him influence and get the king's ear. So surely we'll be able to get the king's ear as well, if he's willing to let that happen. How much do you trust? Can you trust him?
If he had been deceptive, then I would not trust him at all. But to offer so much information.
Am I back?
Yes.
I was mid-flow, and then I'm gonna have to report this. This is 2 nights in a row. Sorry, folks. The router's just disconnecting.
I've had my computer all night has said that I'm not on the internet. I don't know what's going on, but
Who's that strange voice talking?
Anyway, long story short, I have no interest in Magic getting involved in it. If somebody else can, I'm happy enough. We either keep that warehouse or we get another one in exchange so we can carry out our plan.
Let's rent it. Rent the basement to him.
Sublet.
I think we should explore what this could do for us.
If we still had
I
Edmund,
have no idea what these things are about.
yeah. If we still had Edmund, we'd be doing that, but we don't, and it's out of our realm.
I agree.
And consider the fact, I saw his reaction to the giant rats. That's not good. Who knows what else is going to come up?
Do we?
Giant rats today. Giant something else.
Who's like Edmund's superior? Could we go to them for help?
that would be the Godsman's Guild. There's a tavern known colloquially. Oh, there's a good word, as the Witch Smellers Tavern, and it is the unofficial guild of the Witchfinders. When we're talking about Witchfinders in this day for everybody, there are two types. There's what's called the charlatan witchfinder, and that's the Matthew Hopkins of actual history, who goes around torturing women for money, effectively. He was getting a bounty on anybody that he could find out as a witch and send him to the assizes. That's Matthew Hopkins, and they're the charlatans. The true witch hunters actually don't like calling themselves witch hunters because they don't just hunt witches. They might do, but they have to be the genuine thing. What they call themselves are godsmen. So the guild is known as the Godsman Guild, and what they do is they're literally, if you like, God's warriors. They will hunt down evil, they'll hunt down undead, they'll hunt down demons, that sort of thing. So they're sort of like priests with attitude.
Well, I presume we trusted him to be working with him, so I'm just thinking maybe.
Yeah.
Would they would want to close it down? I would presume, or should
you have no idea. The other two types of spellcasters, and as you're Percival, you're a member of the Swordsman's Guild. Yes, you're the Masters. Is it the Masters Guild? Yeah. You also know of the other girls in the area, and certainly among the casters, the court casters are known as the Warlocks. And there is actually a guild for the cunning folk. The cunning folk are not the court casters. They're the ones that live out in the villages and have traditionally in the past been accused of witchcraft. They're just herbalists and spellcasters that get their energies from the land and from fairy folk and stuff like that. And they also have a guild. So of the two that are most likely to be interested in this are the Warlocks Guild and the Godsman's Guild.
Yeah.
So where's this guy who we're talking to? Where's he fall in with this?
Where does he fall in? He looks like a priest.
He looks like one.
Yes. So that's as far as you're concerned. It's sort of like he look. Now priests are a weird bunch when it comes to spellcasting because they believe, and they probably do, get all their power through the veil from God's anointed. So they will be getting them from seraphim and from angelic beings. In fact, what they are, I mean, nobody knows where they're getting their power from, but they are. Priests can cast spells. They call them prayers. Yes, but they actually can cast spells. So But they hate priests. Will never say I'm casting a spell. They'll say I'm going to use a prayer, and I will pray for you, and I will help this happens. So that sort of stuff. So it's all down to the language. But effectively, priests are another form of spellcaster as far as the game is concerned. So this guy, he comes across, because of his monk-like outfit, there is nothing. The closest you've seen is Jesuit, which is Spanish Catholic, but there's nothing about him that, once you've spoken to him, that actually has anything to do with a Jesuit. He doesn't come across as a Jesuit, as one of these really sort of zealot Spanish Catholics. He has a totally different quality to him.
I can't do a deal with him because he looks foreign.
Yeah, well, he does. He actually does look foreign.
Don't trust him.
And also, I'm just generally aware of anyone that wants to control something that radiates the sense of pure evil.
Yeah.
Generally a red flag.
Let's go with Edmund's group, the gods people.
The godsman.
Godsman.
Okay.
I think if we're going that route, we need to be very, very careful on our approach, because the more people who know about this,
well, he said
the more likelihood it is that it's going to get back to someone of power who will simply take it.
But he said the people already know, the warlocks already know. That
they already know. What he said was what he said was, because of what's been happening over the last few days, they might have already sent people out to do some sort of detection and realize that there is in the cellar a big base which their detections can't get into.
Here's a thought for you.
And that's the same situation that this guy's got. He's basically been aware for a long time that there's something underneath this ancient piece of architecture which his sensors can't get to, and that has intrigued him. As soon as you mentioned the giant rat, you can see how his attitude changed as far as he's concerned, and especially if you add that to what Edmund had said, that there's an essence of evil. This guy's saying, look, there's a leak. This is not a completed magic circle, or it's been broken, or something's going on, and something of this magical energy is leaking out and distorting. Those were probably normal rats that have been mutated.
Hey, we might end up with mutations. Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's a thought. So we go back to him and say, no, we can't do a deal. He's not going to be very happy, so he's not going to give up, is he? He's going to want to try and gain access or get rid of us. So
I'm in the mind of Better the Devil You Know. We're all, as characters out of our league in terms of magic, to go and try and build a new relationship with another character where this guy's actively interested in wanting to look at this. We've got the impression leaving this thing leaking as such isn't good, and we don't need the hassle when we're trying to move on with our mortal lives.
Just as a sort of a side issue to all of this is that in terms of the game itself, I've actually written in the core rulebook that the game master, if things start becoming role played, which is what you're obviously doing, then the role play can trump any dice roll within reason, which means that I could ask you now to go back and roll an influence check. You are free to do that as players, or you can say, I'm going to role play this and we'll have the conversation.
we could say we need more time to discuss it and then go on.
Yeah, so I'm just saying this as the creator of the game to let you know how I want the way the game is played put together. And obviously every game master will play it differently, but that's how I would intend to play it. So you guys it's brilliant. This is lovely what's going on tonight.
Yeah.
So you don't trust this guy, do you?
Me, I have no feelings on him whatsoever.
I just don't like the idea of saying no, we can't do a deal and then walking away. I think we should go back to him and put a bullet in his head.
I don't.
Just to be safe.
It's going to be fun.
In front of loads of witnesses, but what are they going to do?
Yeah. I think you've summed up there that it is all a matter of trust. So what would he need to do to gain our trust?
Give us his name, his real name.
And
so
the
we can
person
use it
that,
against him. We'll know his name and we'll be able to cast magic against him.
yep, but also the
SG.
person that took out the warehouse owner, because there's no need for that.
Oh, that wasn't that the guy that the lady's going to deal with? He was trying to
Well, we
get
don't
the
know
warehouse for the
100%.
priest.
We don't know 100%. Priests are capable of things like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, he might have had a hand in
Mhm.
it, but he said he didn't.
Christopher Hemsby, I believe, that a ladyship is going to deal with.
Yeah.
Just out of interest to see what he
Yeah,
see what he
can we-
says about it.
Let's say that to him. Did you have any hand in the death of William's father? Did you?
So
any
are you
knowledge?
going to go back and have this conversation?
Yeah, and then we can.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
this is not a psychology role, but
And who wants to
his
take the lead
reaction-
then if the conversation...
I'll let you know what the body language is doing.
So,
So that,
obviously,
rather than rolling for it, because I
if
actually
it-
prefer
if he's had a hand in that person's death, we can't do a deal with him.
Okay.
Well,
you go. I mean,
Or actually, we'll not obviously ask it outright. We'll ask why he had to go. Why did he have to commit suicide? The handover, surely a business deal was more, and we'll go that direction.
Mhm.
personally, I'd go with
Richard?
Edmund's Godsman people. That's my preference. Maybe
No,
we should vote on
Brett,
it.
isn't your character Richard?
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to call it then during the conversation? If you feel we should do the deal, you say yay or nay. And if you say that at a point, we'll go with it.
No, it's not. It's there's four of us. It's. I think we all should have equal votes. I know we don't have that in the country, but someday, one day, we all should have an equal vote. It
No,
shouldn't
what I
be a-
mean for this, we're obviously we're all on the fence whether to trust him. You've got an instinct for this. We'll have the conversation, and if you
Well,
go,
we can all see his reaction, can't we? We
Yep.
should be able to know.
no, but rather than us, we don't want to be talking like this in front of him. we're in a corner.
But
huddled at
yeah,
the
but
moment.
it's all on me. Can't you be all on Percival? Oh no, he's no good. He's not a very good judge of character, is he?
No, he's a number. We need street smarts, not Percival's good when speaking to the gentry and the aristocrats.
Can't we let you
This is
decide?
street level. This is the streets.
can I just throw in there, because of your accent, that came across as aristocrats, which is actually probably
Arst.
aristocrats.
That's not entirely wrong.
True, that's exactly. That's why I thought you'd done it on purpose.
Well, then perhaps we should go back, ask the questions, and see how honest the answers are.
And what's your name, fella?
So you're there now.
Yeah, well,
Okay, let's go ask the questions.
So, gentlemen, you have been doing quite a lot of animated conversation. How can I help you?
Well, first of all, we'd like to know who we're actually dealing with.
I am a member of the Brethren of Enoch, and my name is Sebastian Gilbard. For about 10 years, I was a spy during the wars with the wars to do with the Holy Roman Empire and the Protestant nations of Scandinavia, particularly the Palatinate. And so I was involved with the daughter of James I and her escape from the Palatinate to Holland. So, if you want to know my profession, I am a warlock and a priest.
William's father, why was it necessary for him to hang himself?
It wasn't. He didn't. Somebody killed him.
So was that part of the plan?
Not my plan. I had already delivered the goods to him. I had given him the money. I wished him well. Or rather, my people did. They had nothing to do with this, I swear. I handpick my men. I know exactly what they do. None of them put a foot wrong. None of them do a thing that I am not party to. And this was not their doing.
So who was responsible then?
I would guess it was Hemsby, which is why I don't mind what you have done to him.
So we had these fake town guard turn up. So were they employed by Hemsby as well?
By Hemsby, yes. He wanted to push the issue and make sure that the name of Forshaw was ground into the dirt so that his son could never do business again. This is an evil man. But then we can't just do business with nice men, can we? I'm delighted with what you've done, but I wouldn't have done it myself. I didn't think that much about him. He was a means to an end as far as I was concerned. You have now got the ear of the Castilian. Was that who you went to see today?
We certainly have a good ear in the castle.
In which case, I don't need Hemsby.
And do you think that your interests will conflict with ours?
Not at all. As long as you don't have you haven't shown any signs of it, you don't have any strong advocacy for the king and his current behaviors.
I personally don't think about it at all right now.
That's as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned.
Now,
But you do have a, well, no, you don't have a side, do you? You want the king to change his mind. You want him to...
It's a simple matter of him taking part in a ritual.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, he considers it to be a pagan one, which is completely foolish.
So you are against the king because the king will not change his mind.
The king carries the Sangreal. He is the most important person in the country. He is the man whose job it is to act on behalf of the rest of his people, to communicate with the land itself. So far, he has refused to take up that role. He thinks he has by wearing the crown, but that is a completely irrelevant human device. Until he's actually gone through the ritual of Banez Ragi, he is not a king of this country. I want the king to survive. I want him to do his job. He is not doing it. Instead, he's interested in his own petty interests about some foolish book.
Is there anybody telling you what to do? Who's your master?
I am a member of a group known as the Brethren of Enoch. We do not have a leader. We have a government. We have a parliament, shall we say. And it is across Europe. For myself, there are 3 of us within England, all with our own purposes, but our purposes are matched when it comes to the king. Ultimately, our purpose is to get the king to actually agree to the ritual. That's all we ask. We mean no harm. We mean the opposite of harm. If he sided with us, we would defend him to the death. He is too important.
Speaking of death, the bit that in all of this that I cannot understand, and I am quite a roguish gentleman, I've been around, but why did a young lad have to lose his father over
He
a simple
didn't have to lose his father. I did not. This, as I said, this is Hemsby. This is Hemsby's doing. I was horrified by this action. I left he had already lost his sister. He had already lost his mother to a dreadful illness. I knew his history. I knew that he was already crippled, and his father was dangerously ill. It was one of my men that I sent to try and recover him, so that at least his father could actually recuperate enough to carry on the business. This in itself foiled one of Hemsby's plans. Then I set up the deal, so that Hemsby could actually get his foreshore back on his feet. This was how it was to go. But instead, Hemsby decided that he would go by himself. He killed the father. He then tried to send these men into the warehouse so that it could be proven to be a suicide purely, and this is the most evil of acts, so that his father could not be buried in consecrated ground. This is hideous.
Just one more question from me. When we first got involved in this, William was getting beaten by members of the town's mafia. Who sent them? Or did you not send them? Because your temple is in like the mafia district. Are you not pulling the mafia strings? Or are you
That has been a matter that has been dealt with. I will admit to that. I apologize if you got the wrong opinion of me. I made one mistake, and that mistake was hiring two gentlemen that were not handpicked by myself. I have to deal with the Bounders men as much as everybody else, and that was the deal. I apologize for that, because that would not have been my intention. The boy did make a misstep. He might have ruined everything if he'd have started using Spanish money in the taverns. I did not know what his intentions were. I did not know, but I did have spies that could see him doing it. Unfortunately, they started acting without my permission, and they acted too far. So, if that is a measure of myself, then I will take that.
You said that whatever is below may be a circle, and you think it may be either leaking or broken.
It will be broken. The mutations, I am truly hoping that it is that. Because the alternative is something that I cannot comprehend. That would be a complete uncontrolled rent in the veil. This means that anything could be in there. It could even be demonic.
Now, if the circle is mended, what could it do?
It depends who mends it and what sort of spells they use to seal it. It would be, if it is a major circle, then it would be triple warded. That means that it can be, shall we say, given a controlling mechanism to stop the wrong sort of being from coming through, but it will also enable people to gain powers from beyond the veil. It will also enable people to even travel instantly from one place to another. But that is a dangerous undertaking if you don't know what you're doing. But at the very least, what it is a source of endless energy.
And should my colleagues come to the conclusion that you are the person to assist us with this, how would we trust you that nothing you do would ever go against our interests?
I will make myself available to whatever form of divination you can acquire to ascertain my purpose. I will not hide any of my intentions from you on a magical basis. I am going to leave myself open to you, to your investigations. I can tell you, but you won't believe that. Also, I will also make another pact that if this is a magic circle, then I will also talking about some form of warlock or priest's laboratory down within the cellar. And if that is the case, there may be other items in there. I am not interested in any of them.
Oh, that's good enough for me.
So we have your approval. Is that a vote in yes then?
No, I was sold when he said he works for like a kind of a parliament. It's not just one person deciding.
That is certainly a positive, I say. Yes. Does anyone else have a yay or nay at this moment?
I'm inclined to say yay. We need somebody.
If he steps out, well, he's there sat in front of us, but out of character. If he steps out of line, we'll go to the God Botherers.
Well, that's 2. How do you say, sir?
I mean, I don't trust them.
He's a spellcaster, and that's a. I mean, I think you're probably right never to trust any spellcaster.
Yeah. I feel like we should have gone to the zealots to get them to just like nuke.
Destroy it. That's what
rather than try and like control.
I don't know. Yeah, would they try and shut it down? You think?
More likely to.
We might have to go to them to shut it down if it all goes wrong.
Wouldn't hurt
Then
for
on
them
the
to look at
proviso,
it.
if it goes wrong, we get it shut down. How do you think then?
It depends if we can, if they want to. That's the road.
Yeah. Well, if we can't, it doesn't matter who we go to, does it?
Well, it's William's problem anyway. It's his warehouse.
Well,
That's his first job as a warehouse manager, is to take care of the magic.
Go and clean
circle
that
in the
basement out.
Yeah. I think on that basis, I'm marginally a yay as well.
So it's like 2.5 to 1.5.
Go for it.
Okay. And it's 3 minutes to midnight, gentlemen. So shall we?
The warehouse.
Let us sally forth.
Okay. So what? So you're going with this guy to the warehouse? Is that what you're intending to do now? Or what's happening?
Given we seem to have a yay, that does seem reasonable.
Okay.
And we may as well watch the fireworks. We're not just going to give him the key and let him in.